Well, I shot a whole video of the other side, how to do a quick repair. I borrowed my wife's van to come up to the cottage. Had a few big things I had to bring up. Wouldn't fit in my little Jeep. So I shot a whole video, but the sound didn't work apparently. I did the whole repair side. I just happened to see a couple little rust spots and I just poked at them. And of course they fell right through. And I'm up here off grid and I wanted to show a quick video on how to fix it quickly. Well, maybe I'll redo this side, but I'll try and post some of the pictures or something on the other side. Alright, I'll give you a quick view of what I did over there. Here's this side. All done, all painted. There was actually nothing left. Here, this side was really bad. No wheel well, no nothing. I made a quick patch out of some wire mesh. Like I said, I'm up here off grid at the cottage. I'll give you a quick view. I can't, the doors are locked. But as you can see, this side is just as bad. All I did was poke out a little bit with my finger and all the paint chipped off. Here it is, laying all over the driveway. This van's barely 10 years old. And look at it. Like I say, I could just pack that full of Bondo, call it a day. But I'm going to make a little wire mesh patch. And I'll show it to you when I get to that point. And it'll last, if this didn't last from brand new, 10 years, well, my patch is going to last at least for 4. I mean, I've been doing body work since I was just young. I've done cars, antique cars from the 30s. People come to me 20 years later. The paint job didn't hold up. Well, I don't know any car that holds up for 20 years unless you guys sitting on blocks in a climate-controlled garage. It's always going to need refinishing. Alright, I'll get to it and show you. I wanted to show you guys why this rusts. As you can see me digging in, they put a foam that acts like a sponge in between the two body panels so you don't get a squeak. Well, I'm taking it all out and you're never going to hear any squeak when I repair this. So I really wish the manufacturer would stop with that sponge that sits there holding all the water. You end up with a car 10 years old that looks like this. I mean, that's terrible. All because they don't want you to listen to a little squeak. Crazy. Alright. Looks like I'm going to have to make a quick patch for this too. I was hoping just to do this at a quick rate. I think it was just as bad. But of course it is. Alright, I'll get the patch made. What you gotta do is pound this all in well. I do have a little generator. I should give this a quick line, but I'm trying to keep my repair to the minimum out here in the woods. This just saves me going home and my wife looks at something like this and says, "We need a new van." And with the prices of used vehicles now after this pandemic, it's crazy. And get most of this, all of the foam that you can out of there. Alright, I'm going to start making a patch. I got a small generator, so I gave it a quick grind to clean up the rust and seal. Okay guys, and maybe gals, after you get a little patch in there, I grounded it all out, got rid of all the sponge material in between. I even, you can see it, bent it around to make a new wheel well. all you're doing is giving the Bondo some framework to stick to. It'll last way longer. I could have just blob Bondo right over it all. And then next spring, my wife would be like, the van fell apart again. This way, you're giving it a much longer life. The Bondo's got something to grab to. It's going to go all through those holes much stronger. Is it the right way? No. Is it a quick, easy patch over the middle of the woods? Yes, it is. You know what I like to say? Get her done, get back to the fun. Alright, I'm going to get a layer on there. As you can see, I've scratched all the paint. Scratch it up like that. Feather the Bondo into the paint. There's no reason for me to sit there grinding the quarter panel up for, way up there, chopping all the paint and flaking it to bare. The Bondo will adhere just fine. Been doing it for years, trust me. Alright, I'm going to get your coat on there. I mean, you can see it already looks better. Kind of like drywalling. You gotta work with this fairly fast, because even though it's gotten cold today, it's still setting up pretty good. I'm an over-hardener user, I'll admit it. I'm going to meetings to try and stop it. All you want is a light skim coat on your first one. Get it on there as smooth as you can. And that's about it. Your second coat, you'll bring it in. And if you guys are all worried, oh, he used screws, they're going to be sticking through. Take your grinder. And after you get a couple layers on, any high spots, just take your grinder, grind it down a hair. Just a little wee bit of filler, and your high spot's gone. Screws are way better. If I had my rivet gun up here, I probably would have just pop riveted it, but I don't. And like I said, this is a quick patch in the middle of the woods. Alright, second coat. Looking a bit better. Got your wheel well established anyway. Getting the lines back in. I sunk the quarter panel in quite a bit, so I know I was talking about the screws maybe poking through, but if you sink it in well, you want to sink it in anyway. If you just leave it with a thin layer of Bondo, she's not ever going to hold. The deeper you smack it in and the thicker amount of cheese you get in there, the better off the repair. Alright, I gotta get to sanding. Okay, here's the final last coat. Got the shape in nicely. Got the wheel well all in. This doesn't have to be 100% flat. There can be a few dips because I'm just putting some rubberized undercoating over it. It's got rust prohibitors in it, it'll help it last longer. So it doesn't have to be like straight as an arrow. But that should do it with the Bondoing. I got the shape in pretty good now, I think. No high spots or anything. Alright, holes all gone. As you'll see, you can see the head of two screws slightly. They're not sticking out at all. They won't crack. I don't need to grind them off. They're not even, you can't feel them with your hand at all. Got the wheel well all back. It was gone. But there's just a quick, easy patch and repair in the middle of the woods. I'm going to get it all painted tomorrow and I'll bring you back for that. But I just found this mark. I can't paint it and leave that. I got to grind that out and repair that. And just to give you a reminder, this side was much worse, rotted right inside the sliding door and everything. It turned out very good. There was no wheel well lip. Getting the glares here. Terrible glare. But it's all fixed. It's got a bit of a ripply texture to it where I fixed it. That's because I used the rubber guard. I'll ground out the door. Grind it off all the rust on the inside. Got that all fixed. I'm just going to squirt some rubber guard on that. And this is going to be rubber guard in there. I just got one little spot right there. I got to put a little more cheese to fill it in, make it look better. Alright, you got to mask it all up. Because I'm about to spray it with the rubber guard. You guys must admit that looks a heck of a lot better than the big hole that was there earlier. The side view of the wheel well. I wrapped that mesh right around, screwed it right into the inner fender. The steel inner fender, not the plastic one. With screws. Like I said, you see those two screws right there, barely. But alright, I'm about to rubber guard it. I'm doing inside this door too. Using the rubber guard now, it gets a lot of water splashing up while you drive, so that'll help protect it too. Alright, there's the door all done. Prepped. Primed it once. If you take fine sandpaper, after you prime, knock down the primer. It just acts just like a thin layer of putty. Fills in all the scratches, fills in your bodywork. Tomorrow I'll give that a scuff with 400. The rest of the door, you won't see a thing. Also, sorry about the thumb. Bounded up the inside of the door, there was some rust. Like, I keep getting my finger in there. Mask that off. I'll paint that tomorrow too. And there's our patch panel. That's just a layer of rubber guard. It's drying right now. That's why it looks blotchy like that. I'll sand that tomorrow before I paint it too. Knock down any high spots. There's the inside wheel well. I painted up higher because there was a little bit of rust. I'm just going to leave that black. You won't see it. I'm putting... Okay, you guys, got a mask all inside the door. All the rubbers. Sand down the inner side of the inner fender of the rocker cover. Mask it all in there. Just so when you paint the rockers, you don't splash paint all over and it looks like crap because it's half red and half black. You gotta finish it off nice. Give that a little mask. It's gonna get some paint over the rubber guard. And that's it. And I'll show you when it's done. And chemical for auto body, but I wasn't doing this, so I don't have any up here. Do not use a chemical with bleach in it. It'll put a film over it and your paint won't stick at all. But all you need is 400 grit. This is base coat clear. It scratches it up perfect. Paint will stick great. And if you're doing it on stones like I am, find yourself an old pillow that Grandma drooled on when she stayed here. No one wants to sleep with it anymore, because it'll save your knees and your back. Alright, that's all sanded up nice. And I gotta get the outside mask. I'm giving that paint this first right now so I can close the doors, and then it'll still be tacky enough that any overspray that goes on, it'll just blend right in. Painted the whole rocker inside. Had a bit of trouble with fish eyes. If you do, let it tack up and lightly miss it and it'll fill in the fish eyes. Usually when I'm spraying, I would use my gun and I'd put fish eye eliminator in it, but that's just a trick you can use if you're spray painting with a Rallo can. Just let it tack up, almost touch dry, and then go over it very lightly, like with a mist that actually falls down on top of it. Don't soak it because it'll just fish eye again. If you just go and lightly mist it, it'll fill in the fish eyes. Just another little tip. I'm leaving a red stripe in between the black to break it off, and then above that blue line will be a black paint line. But just a tip, you gotta get that stripe you're painting on as straight as you can. When I first started and I unmasked my first car, I couldn't believe how wonky it was. So stretch the tape out, get it straight. You'll never have it perfect, but I was going to use a plastic tape, but it never lasts. It always peels off this way. It's never coming off. And it's a lot cheaper. Alright, show you when it's ready. Here's another tip for you too. When you're masking your car, you're going to put a stripe like I am. Take your scissors, cut this, because if you don't put it down, for some reason paint will go underneath your stripe and make it look like crap. And do it to them all. A little tricky on some of them. I should have a knife, but... And then fold the stripe around like this so that the paint won't go under it. Of course, that one doesn't want to lay down. If you don't, paint will get underneath where it's sticking up. Alright, just another little tip. That's the stripes all masked in. Now I gotta do is paper it, sand it, and get it painted. And wherever your paper leaves off, make sure you put a little strip of tape or the overspray will get right underneath it all over your vehicle. And then come back. I told you about cutting that. Just put a little piece of tape over each cut on your stripe, or overspray will get under there too. Alright, almost ready. Just gotta finish it up. As you can see, my stripes all masked in nicely. Last night while I was coming outside, my security light came on and I looked and there was a great big wolf. All by its lonesome. I'm glad it wasn't in a pack. I had to yell at it to get it to take off, so hopefully nothing comes by while I'm painting. Just a tip for painting. Go underneath, do under the rocker. First, give it one good heavy coat. Don't worry about giving it a second one good heavy one. And when you are painting, see where I have that stripe? Do not flood paint on that stripe. Give that top area a very light coat, enough to cover. If you flood too much paint, it'll go under the tape, be a big mess, your stripe will look like crap. And if you flood it too much, it'll activate the glue on the tape and it'll all stay on your vehicle, making more of a mess. And another tip, I like to sand the rubber guard. Knock down any high spots. I find the can rubber guard goes on the smoothest. I have a Schutz gun at home, but it's really gives it a rough texture. I like the can. Gives it the most and just adds, that added amount of protection. Road debris. Also, make sure that you clean the bottom of those rockers off good. I know I mentioned it before, but there'll be oil and road tar and crap. You want it to stick. Alright, I'm going to give it the first coat and I'll show it to you. Okay, here's the first coat. Now, your main goal here is just to get a layer on it. What it does is helps the next one stick. You let it get good and tacky, kind of acts like the glue for the next coat of paint. So it doesn't matter whether it's all blotchy and see-through because you're covering all that up. You just want the glue that's going to hold the paint to it. Alright, there's the first coat. Now, as you can see, do not go heavy around the stripe. I see I got a fly stuck to it. It'll make the van go faster. Oh, he's not stuck, he got off. Alright, and don't forget my tip. The Dribble Pillow 2000 saves your knees and your back. Alright, gonna give it the next coat. Alright, there you have the last coat on, nice and heavy. No runs. Turned out pretty good. There's where we repaired it yesterday, where the huge hole was. I'd say it looks pretty good for outside in the woods. Alright. reveal it unmasked in a few minutes. And always a tip. I started masking right there. So unmask at this end, and then it'll come off one by one. It won't fall down onto your paint. Once the tape grabs that paint, it'll leave a big ugly mark. Just a stupid tip. But when I first started, I would always do that. Paper would fall down on it, and I'd be so upset I'd be repainting it. But it looks much better. And the big holder was in there. All out, off-grid in the woods. The sooner you unmask it, the more the paint will lay down and won't make a big bump where your stripe is. And when you are unmasking, always pull the tape off on an angle, upward, go slow. But the sooner you get this tape off, that paint line will lay down. You leave that tape on there until the paint's completely dry. It'll never sink down. You'll have a big, huge bump. Same goes with the middle stripe. I don't know if I'll show you guys taking it off or not, but you get the idea. For your red stripe, you can't really go on an angle. Get it started with a pair of scissors and just go super slowly. You see the paint wanting to lift up. You gotta go super slow. But this is why I say take it off while the paint's wet, because it'll lay back down. You may actually rip it and go into the paint above or below. But to me, doing it this way instead of one of those plastic stripes, it ain't coming off. It ain't losing its adhesion. It ain't ever coming off. Okay, gotta get closer here. And there you go. A nice stripe. Breaks it up. The reason I went with semi-gloss, matches the upper part of the van. Pulls the two in together. Makes it look like that's the way it was painted. Alright, I'm going to get the rest unmasked. I'm not going to take you along for a ride. And then you can see it. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Sorry for my wobbliness. I'm not used to doing this. But yesterday, I had a big huge hole in the back. Now it's all painted to match. You wouldn't even know.